Hey there, if you are a woman spiritual explorer who gets tripped up when you're triggered, then you already understand that you need to change what you're doing because it simply isn't working. I'm Sharlene Starr, and I help women spiritual explorers to heal what's holding them back so they can break through to their next level of empowerment and freedom and unstoppability. You are about to learn the 3 easiest and most powerful techniques to balance yourself when you're triggered. And in this video, I'm going to break down why Dr. Nicole LePera's video on what to do when you're triggered, why it's so darn effective. So keep watching. How do you rebalance yourself when you're emotionally triggered? Or even better, how do you explain when other women are able to counteract those knee-jerk reactions when their emotional hot buttons are really pushed? And how do you come back to balance fast while others never do it? Why does it seem like they have something different? Well, for example, I may be focusing on Dr. Nicole and our Holistic Psychologist approach to rebalance when triggered, but I know that Gabby Bernstein and Martha Beck and Kimberly Ann Johnson and Jessica McGuire are other women who are very persuasive with their content on this topic too. Why are these women able to respond so skillfully when they're triggered? Well, they all know that rebalancing yourself when you're triggered is the answer, and you should know the answer too. What they have in common is that they use specific methods to help pull themselves out of an activated mindset when something triggers them. They regulate their emotions, they regulate their reactions so that they can become more stable. And I call this inner foundation building, which is actually pillar number 1 in my Powerful Women's Way program. Well, how do they do it? Let's break it down. I'm going to show you live. I'm going to show you exactly how Dr. Nicole does this. Right here, what Dr. Nicole is sharing is the most important approach to rebalancing on the deepest level possible when you're triggered, because it helps you to recover mentally, emotionally, energetically, physically, and spiritually. So let's take a look at what she does.
The first step, those of you who follow me know I'm a big fan of this step, which is breathing. Why is breathing important? When we are activated, our body is activated. So for some of us, what that means is we're having actually a nervous system response. That fight or flight, that concept that a lot of us now are very familiar with, the trigger might be sending us into that fight or flight. First step will actually help calm that physiological nervous system response that's happening when we're emotionally activated with a trigger.
So it's not that you need any old breathing technique, it's that you practice specific types of breath with specific outcomes to help you get rebalanced when you are triggered. And when you don't learn how to come back to balance when you're triggered, here's what happens. Your nervous system stays dysregulated and it's hard to calm down. Your executive function in your brain turns off, so then you tend to make bad decisions, or you can feel really confused. Yeah, hello, brain fog, right? You can also feel like you are in survival mode, or you just want to escape and get away from everything. Or quite often you can shut down completely or become complacent and then just agree with everything. And quite often you can feel fear, guilt, and shame as well. Okay, next, what Dr. Nicole shares, and she does this very well, is that she lays out one of the most important spiritual approaches to rebalance yourself when you're triggered. She deepens the healing journey by helping you shift your perspective. Let's take a look.
Step 2, practice witnessing the ego as an observer. So what do I mean by this? In the moment, so say for instance, I'm going to use this abandonment example. Say for instance, I'm not getting a response back from my partner. Longer time has passed between texts than I would like. So my mind starts spinning a story of, oh, it's because she's abandoning me in this moment. And that's what's causing that reaction. If I can teach myself to witness that story that my ego has told me, that old story of abandonment, really a million things my partner could be doing in that moment. Maybe she's busy, maybe she's in a meeting, maybe she's taking a bath, maybe she's sleeping. Not abandoning me at all. So if I can teach myself in that moment to see that story of abandonment as separate, to observe that story, that's what my ego is telling me. Oh, she's abandoning you in that moment. That's why I'm feeling hurt, devastated, angry, whatever I might be feeling. So the more we practice what we're hearing, that narrative, that story, what our ego is telling us, and separating, observing it, then over time, we get to show up in that moment and give ourselves a new choice.
All right. What I see most women on a spiritual healing path do, and this might include you, is spend all of their efforts focused on trying to change what triggers them, but this isn't the solution. How many of you have taken that approach? Well, in fact, staying focused outside of yourself can be one of the biggest reasons why you're still stuck, finding it hard to calm down, feeling fear, guilt, shame, or making bad decisions when you're triggered. So just remember that you don't control the external events that trigger you, but you do have choice about what you do next with it. And being present within yourself as the witness, or as the observer, as Dr. Nicole calls it, then you're just better able in the moment with a clear and present mind to be emotionally agile, to stay nice and calm, and then you can pay attention so that you can choose how you respond to the trigger. And I call this state shifting, and this alone can improve the quality of your life. You know, instead of staying focused on changing what triggers you, you start to find ways to rebalance yourself so you can improve your reactions to them. All right, let's move on to the final clip. Yeah, so at the very end, what she does is, and this is something I talk about all the time, is that she's getting you to accept yourself, and that this is a problem because of your internal saboteur that really tries to convince you that you shouldn't feel the way that you do. And that gives you the mind-blowing thing like, oh my gosh, I do that too. So let's take a little watch.
3, practice self-acceptance. Now this is back to what I was saying at the beginning. Honoring the fact that your feelings are very valid in that moment, right? You're emotionally activated. There's hormones that are being released in your body and neurotransmitters and energy shifts and changes, and that's real. Not only is it real in this moment, it comes from a very real place of pain. For a lot of you, pain that's probably been stored and carried across your life thus far. So honoring that realness and those emotions as they're coming up is a big practice of self-acceptance, letting it all be okay.
When she says honoring the fact that your feelings are very valid, she's going into a view that you, your feelings, your self-esteem are real and they are relevant. And this is what I call inside my company personal power. And I like to help women really establish an inner foundation so that you work with the first, the second, and the third chakras as part of a healing system to reclaim the presence, the optimism, and the will that it takes to really get into the self-acceptance that Dr. Nicole is talking about. And I talk about conquering self-animosity and clearing limiting beliefs so that you can reestablish that you are enough, that you're worthy, and that's exactly what she was doing there. And when these 3 easy and powerful techniques are dialed in, you can positively impact every aspect of your life. But if triggers are unattended to, you can be left feeling overwhelmed. It can be exhausting. You feel alone. You feel stuck. You feel frustrated. I mean, the list goes on, and none of that does you any good. And that is what most women who are struggling spiritualists do. They never ever get out of the repeating trigger cycle. And if you have this problem, you might be doing that too. So how do you start to rebalance yourself when you're triggered? Well, it starts by discovering which chakra you need to balance the most. So take my free ultimate chakra quiz by clicking the link that's around the video, or simply go to charlenestarr.com/chakra quiz. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that was helpful for you. Bye for now.